In the last class, I had given the introduction about the time invariance. So using two different block diagrams, we discussed the time invariance property. So the gist of this time invariance is the S power T naught operation and the H operation can be done in any order. Irrespective of the order, the outputs will be same. That means y2 of t will be equal to y1 of t minus t naught. So that we proved it in the last class. So now we will see some example problems under this time invariance. So this is from the prescribed textbook. So we just take down the question. We will solve now. I want everyone to copy down the question. Before copying the question, I just want to compare the two equations. Y2 of t from one block diagram, we got it as first operation is h followed by s power t naught of x1 of t. And we have one more equation from the another block diagram. That means y1 of t minus t naught is equal to s power t naught operation first followed by h of x1 of t. So the same thing we are going to do in the problem. So y2 of t, we should prove it as equal to y1 of t minus t naught. So to get y2 of t, we will perform the operation h first and s power t naught next. To get y1 of t power t minus t naught, we will perform s power t naught operation first followed by h. So with this, we will just start this question. I want you people to just solve along with me. So use the voltage V of t across the ordinary inductor to represent the input signal x1 of t. Use the voltage V of t across an ordinary inductor to represent the input signal x1 of t and the current I of t flowing through the inductor to represent the output signal y1 of t. So from the question, can I map the voltage is equal to the input signal x1 of t and the current is equal to the output signal y1 of t. So that only they have mentioned in the question. So your input is voltage, the output is current. Then the inductor is described by the input output relation. Y1 of t is equal to 1 by L integral minus infinity to t x1 of tau theta. So as per the given question, I can relate this y1 of t as I got the current I of t. So this is your original inductor formula, inductor input output relation. I will get the current when I integrate the voltage. So instead of using I and V in the question, they have used Y and X. So what they are asking in the question is show that the inductor is time invariant. So inductor is the element here. We need to prove that it is a time invariant. So to prove it is time invariant, you all know very well, I should calculate y2 of t as well as y1 of t minus t naught. So both should be equal. Have you all copied the question? Shall I proceed with the solution?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So now I want you to just write down. Initially what we are doing is, you can write this. The input is shifted. Input in the question is x1 of t. They have used one subscript. Okay. So x1 of t, I am assuming that it is shifted by t naught seconds. If the input x1 of t is shifted by t naught seconds, then my input will be x1 of t minus t naught. So I am assuming that x1 of t is shifted by t naught seconds. So then my input is now t x1 of t minus t naught. So I take the variable y2 of t, which is the output, to this new input. Which is the new input? The shifted version of the input x1 of t. Shifted version means it is x1 of t minus t naught. So this sentence is very, very important. So if they ask time invariance problem, we need to find y2 of t separately and y1 of t minus t naught separately. Y1 of t minus t naught. So to calculate y2 of t, the assumption what we have to make is, we have to assume that the input is delayed. If input is delayed, then the output to this delayed input is given by. So from the question, we know that output is related to input in the form of integration. So I can write my y2 of t is equal to 1 by L integration minus infinity to t. Now here my input is not x1 of t, because I have assumed it is delayed. So as per the question, it is x1 of tau. So I will take it as x1 of tau minus t naught into d tau as per the question. I hope you understood. So how we have formed the output y2 of t. So now what is my next work? My next work is, I need to get y1 of t minus t naught. So if you want, you can mark this equation as equation 1. So I got one of my output. Next, I am trying to generate the another output, that is y1 of t minus t naught. So y1 of t minus t naught, you just write the sentence. Y1 of t minus t naught denote the original output of the inductor, which is shifted by t naught seconds. So y1 of t is the original output as per the question. As per the question, y1 of t is the output. So I am taking y1 of t minus t naught, which is the original output, which is shifted by t naught seconds. So here, if I substitute in the given question I know very well, the given question they have given y1 of t is equal to 1 by L integral minus infinity to plus L, sorry, minus infinity to t and x1 of tau d tau. This is my question. So if I want y1 of t minus t naught, I should replace wherever t is there only I should replace with minus t naught. So in this place I have to mark t minus t naught. So t minus t naught, which is equal to 1 by L, which is same, but in the limits of integration I have one more t. So that t also should be replaced with t minus t naught. So and here I have x1 of tau d tau. So here I do not have any t term. So I should not use any t minus t naught concept. I will just write as it is, x1 of tau d tau. So I hope you understood how we formed y2 of t equation and y1 of t minus t naught equation. I want you to keep this equation y1 of t minus t naught as equation 2. Okay. So now this is my equation 1. Now if you see, I want to prove this y2 is equal to y1 of t minus t naught. But how to prove it? Because the right hand sides are not equal. If I see my right hand sides are not equal, when my right hand sides are not equal, how can I say that my left hand sides y2 of t is equal to y1 of t minus t naught? So I cannot say. So in order to make the right hand sides equal, I have to perform some function. So I want all of you to write down in your notebook. I'm just going to let tau dash. I'm just going to take new variable tau dash, which is equal to tau minus t naught. Tau dash is equal to tau minus t naught. So can anybody guess where we are going to substitute this? Tau dash is equal to tau minus t naught. Where we are going to substitute, in which equation?
One.
Yes, very good. Yes, very good. In equation 1. Because in equation 1, I have two different variables. In equation 2, I have only one variable. So I should convert the two variable into one variable, so that I can make my right hand sides equal. If right hand sides are equal, automatically my left hand sides are also equal. So like that, I am going to prove it. Okay. So when I substitute in equation 1, so how your equation 1 becomes now? My equation 1, I will rewrite it now. My equation 1 is equal to 1 by L, and tell me what about the limits here? What about the limits? So limits also will be changed accordingly. So how will I do the limit change? I will perform the differentiation of my lettered term. My lettered term is tau dash is equal to tau minus t naught. So when I do the differentiation of my lettered term, will I get d tau dash is equal to d tau? So minus T naught. This T naught is a constant, so that becomes 0 when you do the differentiation. So my d tau I can replace in the new equation as I have not solved the limits of the integration. I have solved only the bracket term. My bracket term is x1 of tau dash, and d tau can I replace as d tau dash, because here I have proved it. So now my tau dash is matching, d tau dash is matching. Only the thing is I have to find the limits. So to find the limits, you all know very well, I have to rearrange this equation in terms of tau, because here my limits are for tau. So when I rearrange, my tau is equal to tau dash plus T naught, tau dash plus T naught. I'm sorry, I will just keep the same equation because I want tau dash only. I don't want tau. So I want the new limit tau dash. So it is already there. So in order to get the new limit, I will just substitute this tau as the lower limit minus tau, minus infinity, minus infinity, minus T naught. Minus infinity, minus T naught. So infinity is always bigger. So my lower limit remains same. Minus infinity, minus T naught. The T naught value is very, very small. So I will retain my lower limit as minus infinity only. Then I have to change for the upper limit. So upper limit, when I substitute, my tau dash will be equal to T minus T naught. My upper limit is tau dash is equal to T minus T naught. So can I just write in this equation, the new equation of equation 1, I am modifying equation 1 as T minus T naught. My upper limit is T minus T naught. Okay. So now my new equation is y2 of t. The left hand side I have not changed anything. The t is t only. Only the right hand side tau minus t naught I have equated to new variable tau dash. So accordingly, my new equation is I have changed my limits also. So it is 1 by L integration minus infinity to t minus t naught x1 of tau dash d tau dash. Can we keep this as equation 3? So already I have equation 1. I have equation 1 is modified as equation 3, and I have equation 2. Now, can you people compare equation 2 and equation 3? I want everyone to compare equation 2 and equation 3. If you compare equation 2 and equation 3, can you say that the right hand sides are equal?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Since right hand sides are equal, can I prove that? Can I say that my left hand sides are also equal? So y2 of t is equal to y1 of t minus t naught. So this is the requirement for me. If y2 of t is equal to y1 of t minus t naught, I can say that the inductor is time invariant. I hope all of you followed it. If you just glance equation 1 and 2, it may look like unsimilar. So somehow we should make it similar. So to do that, I have modified equation 1 by substitutions. So I got equation 3. So when I compare equation 2 and 3, my right hand sides are equal. So my left hand sides are also equal. So the given question, inductor is time invariant. Can you conclude it like that? The right hand sides of equation 2 and 3 are same, so that the left hand sides are also equal. That means y2 of t is equal to y1 of t minus t naught. Therefore, the inductor is time invariant. I hope everyone understood.
Yes,
Time
ma'am.
invariant. Okay. So now we will see one more example. Prescribed book problem, thermistor. So thermistor, I want you just to take the question. I'll just show the screen now. So you can just copy the question. A thermistor has a resistance. A thermistor has a resistance that varies with time. Thermistor has a resistance that varies with the time due to temperature changes. You know what for thermistor is used, okay? It is used to measure the change in the temperature. Let R of T denote the resistance of the thermistor, which is expressed as a function of time. So my resistance I have expressed as a function of time. That's why it is R of T. Otherwise, normally we use resistance as just R. Associating the input signal x1 of T with the voltage applied across the thermistor, my output signal is y1 of T with the current flowing through the thermistor. So they clearly mentioned y1 is my output, which is related to current, and x1 is the input, which is related to voltage. So like in inductor, we discussed x1 was equal to which voltage or current, like that. So here also they have mentioned x1 is equal to voltage, y1 is equal to the current. So then I can relate the input output relationship of the device as, so I can say y1 of t is equal to x1 of t divided by r of t. So as per the question, x1 is V and y1 is I. So it is exactly following Ohm's law, V equal to IR. So I is equal to V by R. So what they are asking is show that the thermistor is time variant. They are not asking you to prove the time invariant. So time invariant means I need to calculate y2 of t separately. I need to calculate y1 of t minus t naught. I should prove y2 of t is equal to y1 of t minus t naught. But here I no need to prove like that. So I am supposed to prove what? I am supposed to prove y2 of t is not equal to y1 of t minus t naught. Because the question is they are asking us to prove the time variant. It is not invariant. Time variant they are asking us to prove. So these both should be not equal. So to follow the steps, so as usual, I need to calculate y2. I need to calculate y1 of t minus t naught. So you know how to get y2 of t, like in the previous problem. I will get the new output y2 of t when my input is shifted by t naught seconds. So if my input is shifted by t naught seconds, then I can write my output y2 of t as per this equation. It is x1 of t minus t naught divided by r of t. So this is my equation 1. Similarly, can anybody tell me what is y1 of t minus t naught? Y1 of t minus t naught. So now I am assuming my output is delayed by t naught. That means t I am replacing with t minus t naught. So what is my y1 of t minus t naught? Anybody?
x1 into t by r of t.
x1 into t, x1 into t
By
minus.
r of.
See, this delay we have to show no inside, because here in the question you have t. In the previous problem it was tau. Please understand. In the previous problem the right hand side was tau. So this t minus t naught was not influenced in the right hand side in the previous problem. But here in the question it is t only on the right hand side. So now can you tell me what is your y1 of t minus t naught, which is equal to x1 of t minus t naught divided by r of
R of
t minus t naught.
t.
R of t minus t. I hope you are all following it. Okay. So this is my equation 2. Equation 1 is obtained only there is a change in the input. Only there is a shift in the input. Equation 2 is obtained by shifting the output. So when my output will be shifted, definitely when there is a shift in the input. That means where t is there, everywhere we have to replace with t minus t naught. So I got equation 1 and equation 2. So if remember, if there is no integration operation, differentiation operation in equation 1 and 2, we cannot make the right hand sides of two equations equal. I hope you understood. In the previous problem there was integration operation, so we used some assumption and we try to match the right hand sides of both the equations. so that we proved that the left hand sides are equal. But here it is linear. You know what is the meaning of linear? It is a linear relation. There is no integration, there is no differentiation. If there is no integration and differentiation, at any cost we cannot make the right hand sides to be equal. We cannot make the right hand sides equal. So if my right hand sides are not equal, definitely my left hand sides are also not equal. If my left hand sides are not equal, then I can say that the question is they are asking us to prove time variant. So I can easily say that the thermistor is time variant. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So finally, I want you to write y2 of t is not equal to, so this line they will see in the question, your answer sheet. Y2 of t is not equal to y1 of t minus t naught. Therefore, the thermistor is time variant. So there are chances that you may get the prescribed book problems in the exam. So I have solved these two problems. So now the last property left is the linearity property. Linearity property. So you can see here, to say my system is linear, it should obey two conditions. Okay, so you can see here, the system is said to be linear in terms of system input. So system input is x of t. The system input we can also call it by using the other name excitation, and the system output is y of t. The output we can also call using the name response. So a system is said to be linear in terms of what? In terms of system input, in terms of system output, when if it satisfies the two properties called superposition and homogeneity. I think you people studied network theory in last semester. So you know what is the meaning of superposition and what is the meaning of linearity. Have you come across the word superposition in your earlier semester?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I will just tell you this property again. Output y of t is linear to x of t. When it is linear to x of t, when it satisfies two conditions. One is superposition, other one is homogeneity. So you all know very well what is superposition, but even I am discussing in signals and systems also. So I am taking one system. That system is subjected to first input. So x of t, I am equating it to x1 of t. If I subject to one input, it produces the output y of t is equal to y1 of t. Then after some time, the same system, I am subjecting it to the new input. So x of t is equal to now x2 of t. So accordingly, the output y of t will be equal to y2 of t. So what the superposition theorem says, if x of t is sum of x1 of t and x2 of t, if x of t is sum of x1 of t plus x2 of t, then my output y of t also should be the sum of y1 of t and y2 of t. That is the meaning of superposition. So my y of t also is the sum of y1 of t plus y2 of t. This is the meaning of superposition. If I have n number of inputs, all the inputs if I add, I should get the output. Output is nothing but addition of all the outputs. If I have 3 inputs, so sum of 3 inputs should be equal to sum of 3 outputs. That's it. That is the meaning of superposition. So my linearity condition should follow this property. Along with this property, it has to follow one more property called homogeneity. So the same thing I have written here. You can write the notes later. X of t is equal to x1 of t plus x2 of t produces the output as y of t is equal to y1 of t plus y2 of t. This is the meaning of principle of superposition. So in order to prove that the system is linear, if only one condition is satisfied, also I cannot say it is linear. Both the conditions should be satisfied. So superposition also should be satisfied. homogeneity also should be satisfied. If both the conditions are satisfied, then only I can say that the given system is linear. So now you should know what is the meaning of homogeneity. So homogeneity is nothing but scaling. So I will just explain here. So I have again a system x of t, system with an input x of t, and it produces an output y of t. I can say that the system is possessing the property called homogeneity. So when I can say that system is said to possess the homogeneity, if the input is scaled by the constant factor a, out is also scaled by the same factor a. Suppose if my input is scaled, x of t is scaled by, you know what is the meaning of scale? If my x of t is scaled by the factor a, then my output y of t also should be scaled by the same amount a. So if a is 5, so 5 into x of t should produce us 5 times into y of t. That's it. That is the meaning of scaling. See, not always necessary that a is only the whole number. It can be 1 by 5 also. It can be fraction also. If x of t is scaled by 1 by 5, my output y of t should also be scaled by 1 by 5. That's it. So this is the meaning of homogeneity. So the definitions, everything you can write it later from the notes. So you can leave the appropriate pages for writing this thing. So under this, they have given some equation like how we have done the equation for time invariance. So since the linearity involves superposition as well as homogeneity, superposition means I have number of inputs. So first I am writing the equation for the superposition along with the scaling factor. Scaling factor is A. So you can see here I have chosen H as the operator. You know what is the meaning of H? H is nothing but the operator of the system. So let the signal apply to the system I of signal apply to the system input be defined by the weighted sum. So I'm not supplying only single input, I'm supplying number of inputs. So my total input x of t, I am giving it as summation I is equal to 1 to n ai into xi of t. So this is my first equation. So it is like this. I have a system like this. My system is accepting number of inputs, number of inputs, number of inputs. All those inputs I am giving it to the system. So finally here it is x of t. So my first input here I can say it is x1 of t, x1 of t along with the scaling factor. That means I can write a1. Similarly my second input is a2 into x2 of t. So if I add all these things, then that is nothing but my total input x of t. The same thing I have given in the form of equation. So x of t is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n ai into xi of t. So next I am going to the next equation. Since I have told h is the operator, you know for any system, my output and input, you know how to relate it. So x of t, how I can relate x of t and y of t. So if the operator is h inside the system, then if I perform the operation of h of x of t, then I will get the output y of t. Okay. H is performing the operation on the input signal so that I am getting output y of t. The same thing I have written in the equation. So h of x of t, y of t is equal to h of x of t. But my x of t is not a single input signal, it is sum of the input signals. So initially I have written the very first equation, the same thing I am substituting here. So h of summation I is equal to 1 to n ai xi of t. So this I am keeping it as equation A because I am going to compare the equations later and I am going to prove that the system obeys linearity property. Up to this, any doubts, anybody? Are you getting the flow of the derivation? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So if my input is the sum of inputs, then my output also can I write in terms of sum of outputs? I said my input is sum of input, sum of ai xi. If my input is sum of ai xi, then my output is also the sum of outputs. So because of that reason, I can write summation I is equal to 1 to n ai into yi of t. This is my equation 1. Okay. So now my next equation is, I want what is yi of t individually. Y of t is nothing, one of the output. The total output is y of t. So how to write my individual output yi of t? My individual output yi of t is nothing but h of xi of t. I know how to get output y. Output is obtained by the operation h on x. Since I want yi of t, I am performing the operation of xi of t. This I can be 1 or it can be 2 or it can be 3 or it can be 4 like that. It can be on any number. So now what I am going to do is I am going to draw the diagram. I am going to draw the diagram. So this diagram I have drawn with respect to the equation. I will just write the equation here. X of t. I am going to use two equations and I am drawing this diagram. Summation ai xi of t. So as per my notes, this equation I have taken it as star. This equation I have taken it as star. I am taking this star equation and I am taking one more equation. Y of t is equal to summation. I'm sorry. Y of t is equal to, I'm taking just h of summation ai xi of t. I'm just taking these two equations and I'm just drawing the diagram. So you can see in the diagram. So I want to generate this in the diagram. So I have first input x1, x2 up to xn. As per this equation, it should be multiplied with the scaling factor. So scaling factors a1, a2, an respectively. So these two is multiplied and here at this stage I am getting the product of two. A1 into x1 of t and a2 into x2 of t. Like that it keeps continuing. Everything as per the equation star I have to add it. So I am adding it. So at this end, at the end of summation, I will get summation I is equal to 1 to n ai x1 of t. So if I pass this to the operator h, so I have written the equation y of t is equal to h of summation ai xi of t. If I pass it to the h operator, then I will get the output. Output is nothing but I am performing the operation h on this input now. This input is nothing but sum of inputs. So I hope you understood this diagram. You remember this diagram? First we have found the sum of inputs along with the scaling factor. Then we performed the operation h so that we got the output y. Now I have one more block diagram. I can perform the operation in any order. You can see here. See here what I am doing is I am passing the individual inputs to the h operator. So h of x1 of t will give my individual output y1 of t. H of x2 of t will give the individual output y2 of t. So like that, h of xn of t will give the individual output y1 of t. So this I am multiplying with the scaling factor a1, a2, a3. So I am adding everything with the help of summer. So in this diagram, what it says is my output y of t is equal to summation ai yi of t. So earlier I have drawn the diagram for summation ai xi of t. Then directly passed that to h operator so that I got y of t output. Here I am just giving the detailed view of y of t. Detailed view of y of t in the sense individual y1, y2, y3, I am showing it here. I am adding everything, then I am getting y of t. So whereas in the earlier diagram, I did not show the individual outputs of y of t. So I hope you are understanding it. So here simply I have written y of t. I have not shown the individual outputs of y of t, y1, y2, y3 like that. So that explanation I have given in the second diagram. So if you see the first diagram and second diagram, the operations are just reversed. First is scaling factor and finally h. Whereas in the second diagram, first is h followed by the scaling factor. First is h followed by the scaling factor. That's it. So the meeting may get disconnected now. You can join back immediately. We will solve the problems. Any doubts in this? The operation I am showing it. The